In photography and videography and pretty much any business, there is one tool that is absolutely the most important thing. And if you use it correctly, it can revolutionize the way you do things and change so much. Now, if you don't know what I'm talking about, it's not a lens, it's not a camera. It's really nothing to actually technically to do with photography and videography, at least directly, but it does make a big difference. I'm talking about a cell phone. And I'm not saying any particular phone model. I just have this as my cell phone right now. So I really think that you should invest in your cell phone. And I'm not saying go get the thing with the biggest specs and all the stuff that are on there. You don't have to have the best camera, you don't have to have certain things on it, but you have to use it as a tool. Don't use it as something that's for entertainment, for something that is just sitting around in your pocket. For me, it's a bit of everything. I obviously do use it to watch videos, to actually digest content and to learn things, but at the same time, I'm using it to make my life easier and better. And since I'm a photography and videography channel, I'm going to just go a little bit more deeply into that. But the same things apply for the most part for any other thing or any other kind of jobs, business, etc. Now with the cell phone, there's a couple of main functions, obviously. I'm just going to go very quickly into it because I know most of us know what a cell phone is. But for anyone who doesn't, just going to give you a rough idea. Obviously, a phone is to call people or / communicate, and also to nowadays use things that you would have to go to a computer to use. Also then some infotainment, entertainment, etc. And nowadays a camera as well. So in that case, let me start off with the first one. When you're talking to people, when you're networking, doing different things, it's absolutely important that you're actually leveraging your phone's use. So when you're at an event, you're either gathering phone numbers, you're talking to people, you're actually using it to communicate to clients when you're about to get there, when you're leaving, etc. Basically narrating how things go, or filling people in. For me personally, I use it when I'm saying like I'm leaving for an event, or how is stuff going to be done in terms of like how their deliverables are going to be completed or the changes they wanted. It might be to network, it might be to gather phone numbers for someone who I randomly just find in an event, someone who I really wanted to talk to that I didn't even know would be there. Maybe I get their phone number or their email, etc. Those small things absolutely are important. So I highly recommend using it in that. And that's one of the most important ones I'm going to cover on this. Because if you're not leveraging that, I think you're really not grasping the full use of a phone and able to get the most out of it. And a slight side note, if you're actually able to use enough of it as a part of your business, this might apply to some people or may be different in different places of the world, but you might have it so you can write it off as a tax thing or different things like that. Just check it, but I'm not gonna like go and say all that, because you gotta go and make sure that is legal and it works for what you're doing, etc. But it is definitely possible. Now, in no particular order, mostly because I can't remember the order I just said, but also for entertainment, infotainment, etc. You're able to get ideas for different things, especially when you need it in short notice. So like, let's say you're at a wedding and you have an idea for poses or a certain type of shot you want to do, and you maybe didn't prepare the night before. You are able to do that, and you're able to think of stuff right off the cuff right there. I've definitely done it where maybe I have a creative idea that I want to show someone, or I have an idea that something would be different. That's really, really useful, because you can pull up something and show someone basically right in front of them. You don't have to go describe it and mimic it and all that. It's harder to do, and especially if it's something that involves multiple people, not possible. Now, another one is just creating with it. Obviously, with the camera, with stuff on it that are more optimized for people to connect with people around the world, you have cameras and stuff in it that make sure that you get decent quality, especially nowadays where we have like 4K in pretty much every single phone that we have now. So if you're creating stuff, you're able to potentially monetize yourself, which means some people's lives will change because they're just monetizing what they are doing with the phone. I've seen plenty of creators who are just recording vlogs with their phones. But also in general, you're able to do different things, like create photos that you might want to sell online, or that someone might want to see somewhere. You can use your phone to its full capability by doing that. And with a newer phone, almost always comes with a better camera than the previous. And last but not least, is also one of the bigger ones, is use it to leverage apps. So some apps you can't even use on a computer. It's only exclusively on phone. There's ones where there's like light meters. There's things where it tells you the color white balance, or it tells you just different things that you would not necessarily have with you. You'd have to buy individual different pieces or devices, etc., which adds up very quickly. So with apps, it makes it a lot easier. And even if it's not 100% accurate, you're still getting something that is better off than just eyeballing it or just, thinking differently. So with apps, you're able to leverage it so much and be able to use things for entertainment, obviously, but to make life easier on a shoot, to organize yourself. Like I use Keep for a lot of things. I use things like Samsung Notes. I've had stuff where it makes it easier to organize your ideas, to note things down, to, you know, like I said, connect with people if they don't want to write things into a phone, then you have it in a note, etc. That's actually literally how I met my wife. She typed in her email to my phone. So again, capitalize on those moments, and you know, you never know what will come of it. And if you're using your phone and leveraging it as much as possible, you're actually getting a lot more out of use of your phone. And especially if you're not upgrading every single year, you're getting even more use out of it because you're leveraging its full capability. I personally don't upgrade every single year, but to each their own. You are getting better technology, but again, if you have something that's fairly new, you're going to be able to last multiple years without having to upgrade. Not going on a whole thing about that, but I do recommend using your phone to its full capability to just maximize use and to maximize all the features that we currently have in present day technology. And one side note I might say actually is, yeah, a phone is very portable. And if you want, you can also go and put this on like an iPad or some kind of similar device. But the best thing about a phone is that it's usually in your pocket or nearby. So you're most likely going to have that more than anything next to you, which means it just makes life a lot easier. I actually made a similar video about like how a tablet or like a device, iPad, etc., makes it a lot easier to do things on shoots. And there are some other things that change compared to a phone. So be sure to look at that video over there. So that being said, I really hope you enjoyed this video. If you want to see the cool one, be sure to look at this one over here or check out the channel right over here. Also, if you want to hit me up on social media or ask any questions or anything like that, look somewhere on screen now, or it'll be the comments, description, etc., wherever I end up putting it. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed. Thanks for watching. Peace.